popular around the world, they're still sticking on that red side for the counter-pick power that we saw yesterday. But Poppy was left unbanned. Trouble called it out. It is first picked, and she's got a big enough brain to be an analyst.
I think it's very synonymous with Shio. He's had some fantastic plays on the champion, and also one of the more aggressive, if you will, early game champions as well. Jessica, though, gonna go back to his roots.
We're seeing a lot more of this. Gone are the days of Sivir all the time, Zeri all the time. It's Aphelios in early rotations. We've been seeing this a lot throughout the entire tournament in group stage too. I mean, I remember, of course, Devoxno was playing a lot of it. Exakick, a great career champion of that play. Both of them were playing yesterday, of course, but it's going to be Yasta picking up the Aphelios this time. And you have the Jarvan as well into the Poppy.
Not the biggest fan of the Jarvan, actually, especially into the Poppy. Stops the flag and drag. And honestly, you wanted to see the Azir banned here, but he's actually not even first pick for any teams.
Now you have still got a champion which is really difficult to reach in the backline. Yeah, Jarvan has target access into the backline, but what happens if they can just slide out of it?
Or shove you out of it, you know?
Very interesting. So actually, there is actually a very interesting interaction with Jarvan into Poppy. So you can stop the flag and drag. You can't stop his ultimate because it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
Now, I believe there is interaction where if you ult, it actually triggers the W from Poppy, but because you're unstoppable, it doesn't ground you, so you can flag drag after that point. There are some weird mechanical outplays at that point. I remember seeing a player in Japan doing that the one time.
Okay, so far, we've picked 2 champions that want to dash into the Poppy. So the Poppy is gaining insane value at this point. And as you mentioned, if you do manage to somehow miraculously make it into the backline, Shurima shuffle everyone out immediately. Now, of course, I think that the Soraka was a big issue for Vitality.Bee to deal with. So unless they want to pick it for themselves and shove it right next to their affiliates, I think it might be a point of contention to ban it away. But then you also have Karma.
Yeah, I really love that drawing the lens down onto that support though, because particularly Jack Troll had a very difficult game outside of the laning phase last game. The Karma was great in the lane. Saw them crush down the Caitlyn. I almost call it the Comp's turret because I've seen Comp play the Caitlyn so much, but the Karma is going to be banned away.
Yeah.
And what I really want to
Caitlyn's, you know.
what I really want to see from Jack Troll is something that can safely ward, something that can actually go and survive a little bit longer rather than getting picked off in the river somewhere every time you step up towards it. Maybe we'll see something like Renata or Aphelios. Renata's a very strong combination. You got it paired up with Jarvan, very strong at that point. In fact, that's something which I'd like to see BDS Academy take away.
There it is.
And Soraka on the other side also removed.
I mean, I will now be interested to see what the options are, because the 2 sort of primary power healers, the hyper carry healers, are off the table. There's an off chance of something maybe like a Seraphine, but then what do you would you really want that? Is it back towards traditional stuff?
Power healers like, give me another wrap of those healers, Soraka.
I mean, that's a Sonar, I suppose, as well, but I'm again a little out of the back.
Gym bros of supports.
Hence Soraka.
Yes, I will heal your muscles with pain.
I am the hyper carry now.
So what I'm really worried about here is that the Caitlyn can very easily get out of a Flag and Dragon Cataclysm, but you need a support next to her that can actually also get out of the Cataclysm and the Flag and Drag, because you're a lane that's constantly pushing, and Jarvan is a very heavy ganker of a jungler. So if you pick something that's extremely mobile in the bot lane right next to the Caitlyn, it will immediately become the target for skins.
So now we have Skanda onto the Aatrox. We saw what Adam could do with that in the last game. The Flavor of the Month matchup has, of course, been Renekton. So actually, Renekton has been a decent champion into the Aatrox, because, as you were saying in the last champion select, Aatrox is kind of like this half-range champion, this kind of AD melee mage kind of thing, because your Q1 and your Q2 allow you to play effectively across the minion wave. What Renekton does is he just dives straight into you. What you can do, though, is do the Adam special of just picking 1v1 straight BS and just run straight at you with that Olaf, undertow after undertow, and just fist fight the Aatrox.
Now, this is where the Jarvan, though, gets value, because when the Olaf starts charging in, you pop the Cataclysm onto the Olaf. Olaf has to play Ghost, so there is no way out of the Cataclysm for that Olaf. So I feel like if Adam does not snowball that top lane, there is a huge problem right there. I forgot the Renata, my bad. This is a really great pick into the Jarvan. You can literally grab him out of his Flag and Drag and throw him further back.
Adam's win rate on Olaf is 66.7%. It's his second most played champion of all time at 18 games, just behind the Renekton, actually, interestingly. So a pick he is certainly synonymous with and very comfortable with. Jack Troll locks in one of the ultimate in roaming supports.
And now, if last game wasn't enough for Vitality.Bee to have engage range with like a Camille flying over the wall, you've got a, of course, the Wukong diving in, the Ahri as well following up. Having a Bard, having a Jarvan, just firing across several screens away from you it's very difficult for the Caitlyn to sit up and just try and siege, try and sit in one area. It's very easy now to get caught out as your backline as BDS Academy if Vitality.Bee choose to pull the trigger.
I think this is a Vitality.Bee that are very confident in their skill to execute these types of compositions, because Bard is a very niche type of champion and a very weird one at that as well. Very pseudo-tanky, yet does really good damage, yet has the rights to engage, but also disengage some healing, some escape routes. So it's a very weird thresh, if you will, type of champion. And honestly, I'm leaning towards BDSA again here. They've got the front to back, they've got their setup with the Caitlyn, they've got a Shurima shuffle if anyone makes it into the backline. And right here, you do not have these Camille's and Wukongs and Aries that will reach that backline with ease. It's gonna have to be a rough game through lanes and skirmishes.
And that's the thing for me, because actually, not only do you have a lot of teamfight power with a longer range backline from BDS Academy, you've got winning early lanes too. You've got the Azir, which will push in. You've got, of course, that top lane of the Olaf, which is just so annoying in that 1v1 ever since that rework. Bot lane as well with that Caitlyn. Very difficult to win shove over with. Vitality.Bee, I think it has to come through Skeens, has to come through some miracle magic from the jungle.
Well, that was a potential little level 1 setup here. There was Vitality.Bee stacked up with every one of their members in this bot lane as Crownie wisely backs away from that tri-brush. Odote is a little deep, and Crownie needs to be a touch afraid. He's going to be caught out. He walks in! He's got to flash straight away, but there's a flag, and trying to get charmed! The level 1 comes through, there's nowhere to go. Crownie dies the first blood. It goes to Shigenda's Aatrox.
And if in game 1, we didn't talk enough about how, you know, there's a lot of resources thrown bot side by BDS Academy, but it wasn't really Crownie being the beneficiary and the carry of that game. This makes it even worse. Right from the off, losing a summoner, losing their life.
We saw it in the Dusty series as well, when they picked for the Jace. You lose your flash level 1 on a hard shoving lane. The second
he didn't
you
even
push
have vision.
again.
He didn't even have vision.
He just walks out of the tri-burst feeling safe because Odote was also pushed towards the bot side of the map. And right there, you will see that Diplex actually sacrifice a little bit of the early game prowess so he can get the taunt.
And maybe time at this point to bring up a little bit of our team graphics, because last game was very slow. Things didn't happen, and these teams are known for playing fast, for playing bloody. Game 2, we seem to be back on the track right now.
Actually, fun fact, the only team that has a fastest game duration than these two was Valiants, but they didn't win any of their games. Shio, oh my god. Now these two teams won a lot of their games, and they still have some of the fastest timers there. But BDSA did lose their 100% first hour because Vitality got it last one. But again, we talked a little bit about Shio on the Poppy. It's like the extension of his hands at this point.
So as you're right in saying, Diplex did level up the Charm level 1, so you get that CC to make sure they can finish off that kill. Doesn't really help you when you're trading. Now, I like it when you're playing support, Ari, but you're in the mid lane. Doesn't really help at that point, and Rika is going to get that priority uncontested. But the question is, even though you're dropping a little bit of pressure on the first few waves, is it enough? Because this bot lane has now been put behind from BDS Academy.
And talking about bot lane, I just want to highlight the wards that went down into the jungle to spot potentially a Javan doing blue buff and going all the way down to that bot lane due to the fact that Caitlyn has no flash available. So Crownie overextends, the Javan would be there, but it gets shut down immediately by Shio, meaning that right now BDSA, have exact location of the Javan playing towards the top side of the map, and they do not necessarily care because the Poppy is also pathing that way.
Done a really good job with that, and despite the first blood, and it's a great first blood going to a very scary player in Shigendo. Again, we highlighted those stats. The guy was up on average something like 40 CS, which is
crazy
nuts. For the side of Vitality.Bee, they have changed draft up. Skeens is on something that can impact lanes a little bit more. They've got a support now, which is effectively obligated to roam to find those meeps and try and use that ability to travel the map so fast to make things happen. And the question is whether that change in playstyle will be enough to bring them to a point where they can start winning games here, because some ugly trades are still coming through, and particularly that mid and bot lane.
Now, the problem right here is, you mentioned it, Jackdaw needs to leave lane. The reason why Vitality.Bee were able to shut down the Caitlyn in game number 1 was due to that karma down in the bot lane, shoving in these waves, pressuring Crownie and Odote underneath the tower. Right here, if Jackdaw leaves the lane, there's even kill pressure onto Jeskla whilst also sitting on the tower, which means you're going to lose that bot lane.
But need more plays like this, though.
Remember, there's still no flash on Crownie. There was a heal, though, and that'll keep him away for now. Crownie still being engaged on. Skeens Skeens trying to auto. They've got themselves the stun, but a bailout turns it around, but only briefly. Skeens gets killed on the bot side.
So, turns out you don't actually need to leave lane. You can just kill your lane instead, bring down your jungler, use that magical journey. And we were already kind of saying, look, actually, it's going to be a bit rough for Vitality.Bee, especially if they play out their kind of a more passive early game like they did in game 1, because the winning lanes from BDS Academy are really hard to win priority against. They're managing to make some plays, though, with the Bard, with the Jarvan, and that's good news for you if you're a Vitality.Bee fan.
And I immediately was proven wrong, saying, oh, this Bard's going to want to roam, and he immediately just has people roam too, and just the magical journey there. Proves why I'm sometimes not the analyst, right?
He did roam.
Yeah.
Towards his own bot.
Yeah.
he roamed like 50 meters north into into the jungle. This is quite far enough from home, I think. Let's bring back a friend.
And this is very important to also highlight the state of the wave. Crowny and her daughter were massively trying to outpush that wave and crash it underneath the tower. And what Skeens actually did after full clearing, except his from the top lane, sorry, the golems, is the fact that he sprinted down that bot lane after his reset, making sure that Crowny and her daughter do not get the back before he hits with the first gang.
It was there and back again, a tale by Bilbo Jack Troll. Magical journey it was.
I think that would have been a significantly shorter story than the Lord of the Rings turned out to be.
It's what would have happened if they actually did take the Eagles to Mordor.
You've just triggered a lot of people.
Wait, but that was a trilogy. You guys are telling me we're not having more than 3 games?
I mean...
Oh, no. I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Hobbit and the Rings of Power now, and maybe the Silmarillion. Like, it could go to, like, 6 if we get, like,
quickly,
a...
let's break out the books. Let's see
here we
how
go
much
again.
material we can go for it.
All right, well, everyone's down bot side. It does seem to be the focus this series in a lot of ways, despite the very aggressive trading happening in top side. Skeens is here. Sheo is as well, though, and he's going to be spotted out across that river vision. But, of course, that does mean that Skeens now knows Sheo has left. Diplex free to come into the river, and now to see whether they make anything of this earlier pressure. Doesn't seem like it too much right now.
So one thing you pointed out earlier, Trouble, was the vision that was being used to track Skeens' path down to this bot side. Look, in credit to Vitality.Bee, they found an opening just around that vision with that magical journey. But look, once again, ward's put down. Another pink ward put down into that bot quadrant. They're actually going to see Jack Troll roaming away from it. BDS Academy really, once again, setting up their bot lane for as much safety as they can. It has led to still a gold advantage somehow to Crowny, despite the 2 deaths. That first death, of course, for the level 1 and then 1 in laning phase. But they are doing their best to make sure that this Caitlyn doesn't fall further behind.
And this is the thing, right? They're playing with the information they're getting from themselves. They know that this Caitlyn doesn't have flash in the early game. What does Jarvan like to do? Gank you level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 until you bleed to death, right? They have stopped this twice now. They're making sure that the vision is always towards the bot side of the map when that blue buff spawns, which is going to pull Skeens towards that bot side of the map, especially due to the fact that top lane is not really gankable, mid lane is not really gankable for Skeens, so all you have left is this immobile bot lane from the side of BDSA, so they're making sure they're always keeping them safe with vision.
Well, it has been some early action, some good punishing on Crowny's lack of flash and getting that level 1 play out to begin with, but it has once again been a little bit slower than what we've come to expect from these teams regardless, and I was briefly excited. We saw the graphic come up, we're like, oh, it's looking a little bit more I don't know, relentless is the word I'll choose to use for this one. But it has slowed down a little bit. We've got an Ocean Drake up, 30 seconds till Herald, and mid jungles are in the river. Maybe they're looking for something.
And that something's the Scuttlecarp for now. As you'll see, the first dragon has spawned. It's going to be an ocean. Helps you a little bit in lane as well, especially since there's a bunch of poke from the side of BDSA. Having that little health regen that the dragon will give over to you will help you definitely in the laning phase. But at this point, you need to make sure that you are even level and you have ultimates. And right here, if you look at Skeens and Sheo is level 6. He's already able to throw an opponent out of the fight if he wishes to, but there is no Cataclysm for Skeens. And this has been the name of the game the entire time. If you look, Skeens is about 3 to 4 camps, 3 camps behind at this point. Just got his level 6, and he all started from that level 1, where Sheo invaded his jungle, took that blue buff, and he's gonna do it again because he has that bot lane pressure. But Crowny is actually backing at this point.
Yeah, but I look at what Sheo's doing here, because BDS Academy lost that vision in the bot jungle, which they have been using to try and give themselves a platform to keep Crowny safe and keep pushing in. They've lost that vision control. Several pink wards invested from Vitality.Bee to make sure they are down towards bot side. And even though Skeens is behind in the camps that he has taken, of course, he's made up for that in the kill and assist, which he's done. He's got those camps on respawn still to at least keep himself back on par with what Sheo's got.
Okay, so Dragon's alive, Herald's now alive. I am going to start wondering when we're going to start to see our first major fight come skirmish. I wonder whether either team feels comfortable enough to set up for it, because right now it doesn't seem like anybody's really moving or resetting away from their lanes right.
I think for Vitality.Bee it's very scary, because if you look over in the top laners, Adam has his TP available, once again that doesn't. So he will be able to actually even reset, go back to base, sprint it towards the Dragon, and then TP back into his top lane to grab whatever CS is underneath his tower, or actually TP straight to that team fight through a tower. But I feel like at this point, especially when you have a Caitlyn in your team and you want to use her like sort of a Ziggs that takes down towers really easily, you go towards that Rift Herald, you make sure you take it, and then you use Caitlyn as a sieging tool over and over again across the map. Because right here, because Jackal is roaming a little bit more with the Bard, you'll see that at this point Jessica has been stuck underneath his tower.
Herald is burst down. Skeens was looking to maybe see whether he get in there to contest, but he's not quite there in time, and it goes down in favor of BDSA. Jessica takes a pretty heavy chunk, but now Jackal looking for the flank behind. What can they get out of it? I'm not sure all that much. In fact, he's level 5. I'm not sure whether he wants this trade.
Well, the thing is, when the Fellows hits level 6, you get so much kill pressure, especially when you have the Crescendo ultimate. You get to stack up Cretchackmans very quickly. When it is just that 2v2, it just means that the DPS coming out of Fellows is so strong. Got the Caliban Crescendo combo for the rifle turrets. You could see that there was an angle there, especially if you get that double stun, but as you said, nothing comes of it.
Also, you're also fishing for reactions, right? A magical journey works kind of like a thresh lantern. You throw it behind you, and you don't know if there's any enemies that are going to come out of there. So maybe fishing for reactions, fishing for a spell that's going to miss, like the handshake from a Dote, might allow you some opening to go in and even trade and push down that Caitlyn lane. But again, my eyes are on Shio right now, because he's the one holding the Rift Herald, and I'm expecting it to go towards that bot on the map. Get that earning, get a reset on your bot lane, get to shove in a wave or two, and try to cash in on your Caitlyn. Be the first one to move your hyper carry around the map to take more towers.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think the goal is, as you have been saying, to try and just pin this bot lane from Vitality.Bee to their lane and make sure that they can't use that use it like this, actually, to make plays in the mid lane.
Yeah, but Rika does manage to avoid the charm, uses that Empress Divide and then the Shifting Sands and Conquering Sands combo to get himself out of danger, but there's some ults traded, not too much more down there. I mean, maybe this will give Vitality.Bee the option to go for the Dragon.
Close.
Tempered Fate misses. Crownie has got a 90 caliber net, and that's enough to get away, as Jessica will take an ace in the hole in trade. And actually, that chunk could be meaningful with that Dragon being started. Now, Jack Kroll in trouble. Flash and stop for going through! What a phenomenal W from Sharon. They have to pull off the Dragon.
Wow.
And you know, we were talking about how, well, yeah, Jack Shaw, kind of want to see him on a pick that's a little more safe to ward, a little more safe to walk up into River. Poppy is notoriously good into Bard. You can't go through the Bard magical journey with that W. It does actually count as a mini dash. And Shio closes the distance, uses the charge to get in range, and Jack Troll looks for a play, punish though when it doesn't land.
And remember the turn we're talking about, either you push double a wave or you get a pick and you have the numbers advantage. That's exactly what BDSA are doing here. They're gonna take that entire bot lane tower, get all this gold into the Caitlyn. They're gonna be 3 members down from Vitality.Bee though, and Skins.
Here we go, they're all coming in, but a massive stun to the wall. Into the double knockup, but there's a hostile takeover. That was a magical journey straight to hell. The bailout keeps Crowley alive. But what can Yaska do? He will flash forward to secure 1. Can he get a second though? The ward in the bush will not allow Vision for long enough to get the kill. It's a disaster.
Shio on Poppy, baby. He has been absolutely on point. Skins is always coming second to him. He's there to counter gank. He's there to shadow his lanes. He's there to create pressure. And twice now, not only has he opened that bot lane, but he's also responded to the counter gank after the tower went down. And honestly, it pains my little heart. I'm seeing 4 Dash champions into a Poppy. This is a hell of a game for Vitality.Bee to play.
Yeah, and if you can play away from the Poppy because your Bard is roaming, because you're getting more numbers to the fight, then it's kind of okay, right? But you need to make the game as little about the Poppy as possible. And that immediately falls apart as soon as you take that journey. And Shio comes in. That is just an awful situation to be in. Multiple auto attacks coming out from both of them, hammering on each other's heads. As you said, that reset comes out, and also, all 3 die in this
how
fight.
Important that reset was, because Crownshot got 1 more headshot onto the Aphelios.
Not done. So much damage coming through. Shio's got himself a steadfast presence, and he's getting out. No way! Dirty lands a handshake to stop Jack Troll going any further, and there's still 30 seconds on Crownie. I wonder if he might be able to get another plate here.
And the Shio still has flash. It's not even like you had to expand that. I think at this point, you've got to the point where, you know, Mythic items been built up onto your junglers. A little harder to burst them down, and Sheo more than happy to walk out away from that, use the heroic charge to get out of dodge. And while all this is happening, what that Herald means is that your Caitlyn is now unlocked around the map. If in game 1, you saw that it was Caitlyn getting a lot of resources, but it was topside that had to bail out BDS Academy in those team fights. This time, Crowny's in a point of power, they can still fight.
They realize Sheo's there and they have to pull out the ultimate pop from Jack Troll. They don't get anything for it, and Vitality.Bee pull off the play. And you can see what the game plan was from Vitality.Bee. They got the first blood level 1 of the Caitlyn. Rika's in trouble, but has shifting sands and gets out to safety. Crowny from 0-2-0 to 2-3-2, a whole first turret with the plate set, 2 plates in topside as well. He's now 2.1 thousand gold ahead of his opponent, alongside a hefty chunk of CS. Big turnaround from how that early game started.
Yeah, this is a completely different game that we're actually watching. That Caitlyn has been enabled. You got the bot lane tower, full tower platings. You got 2 tower platings towards the top side of the map. You're gonna get another tower towards the top side, and Sheo has been shadowing that lane start to finish, making sure no gank goes through, no pressure goes through that Caitlyn. And when it does through mid lane, it's Rika who again is roaming first on top of Diplex. So even if Diplex is trying to find these skirmishes that we talked about together with the Jarvan, he just can't because Rika is there first.
Yeah, and, you know, to again draw that vision outwards, have a larger look at what this means. BDS Academy, I was pretty set on the way that they were playing. They played through Adam having a strong 1v1. They'd snowball around topside control, and they'd kind of just pick fights around that point. And I was worried about what would happen if they were forced to play away from that style. They've done that of their own volition. Yeah. And in this first 2 games, you can see that Crowny, the player which they did play around in spring, as he brought up in game 1 trouble, is having a chance now, particularly in this game, to shut up some of the haters, bring himself a result, which can be a bit of that redemption arc, which this team sorely needs after that spring result.
And, you know, he's got himself 2 completed items plus some uncompleted boots compared to only half an item. And Jeskler got punished for trying to shove a wave. Rika is now on the board as well.
Shurima's pinch onto the wall, finds Jeskler right there. And Aphelios all alone. I just want to pinpoint the vision right here. He had so many wards. Oh, Crowny.
He's still going to try and get him alive. He's taken a lot of damage. He's not in range to bail him out, though. But can Vitality.Bee escape from here? They're pretty deep, but they've still got room to escape.
So I'll be, you know, taking requests on who we're going to talk about and praise next, because Crowny dies. Just it's like, wow, doing so great, especially after spring where they lost
4th time's the charm.
4 times the charm, and charm
get it?
you know what? I actually got that. We're
as bad as each other. That's really problematic.
You guys did this to me.
Sometimes I feel like
where have we corrupted you?
Sometimes I feel like I'm the oldest one out of the 3 of us. It's actually completely the opposite.
I'm the youngest.
That's like now, children. Let's move on to League of Legends for the day.
This is what casting with the 2 of us does. Is it ages you mentally. Like it's like a full-on like hyperbolic time chamber. Either way, Dragon's up and alive. Neither team's gone towards it quite yet, and the gold lead is pretty heavily in BDSA's favor, and a lot of that is in Crowny's back pocket. Despite the deaths he's accrued, he's still got a lot of resources into himself. And also now Sheo at 2-0-3, massively impacting this game so far.
And I think right here, because you have so many priority lanes to play through, BDSA can take that Caitlyn in the mid lane, put down the Rift Herald, shoving that wave, and by shoving it that wave and putting pressure on the tower, you force Vitality.Bee to have to react to it, which means you get a pretty free trade, into... That's fine. You just get to move into the river first, but the Rift Herald is still there and still gonna do damage, so you need to make sure that you actually reply to this, which will allow BDSA to move first into the river and get that objective that they came for together with the tower.
And this was the danger of what happened in game 1, where you still have the Caitlyn and the Azir. It is siege, it is group, it is fight in the grouped up fights, and Vitality.Bee.
I'm sorry to break it to you, this is even worse. They have a Poppy.
They have a Poppy this time too, so it's like even worse. 5v5s, just don't do it. Vitality.Bee going to find a lot of struggles in that regard, but they're not able to split open the map. BDS Academy are controlling the map, they're controlling where Vitality.Bee are on it, and they're running out of options, much like they did in game 1.
And, you know, for a series we pegged as being all about the top side, it's been a quiet one. Not really all that much happened. A bit of a gold lead towards Shigenda, but not the kind of world-ending, game-breaking ones. But the moment I speak about it, I'm here to have done it again. I've got to stop cursing top lane as Adam has got no flash, he's got no hope. Sheo channels up the ultimate, but there's just nothing to be done. He dies. they get the pick.
You know what? Someone has to be the target from this little BDSA. The other 4 members, well, apart from Crownie, sorry, seem to be pretty undying on the map. And since Adam does not run the flash, as we mentioned, 1 Cataclysm is enough to lock him in place. You bring over other members, and I think this is how Vitality.Bee can start slowly but surely clawing the way back in. Get some of these bounties, get some of that extra gold from the kills, and start putting some money into that array, because it pains my heart, and I'm sure it pains your heart as well, Nymera, that these skirmishes in mid-jungle duos just don't work for Vitality.Bee.
Well, they really are trying to play around it. They've tried to play around the side lanes. They've stayed too long, though.
Not quite, but there's going to be trying to reset. Can he get out in time? They missed the bush! He missed the bush. They found him. They didn't get him!
Absolutely criminal. Absolutely criminal.
No.
That should not happen.
So, missed the bush with the wall, the TP out, and they don't stop the other reset. That is...
He had already used his handshake.
Get away without murder in this time.
I am speechless.
That's
I am
ridiculous.
absolutely speechless. That is ridiculous.
That is a chain of very unfortunate events.
Lemony Snicket knows exactly what that one is. There's a book or 2 in that, I'm sure. Red buff being started though for BDS, will try and take that impedance for the aggression in top side. Skeens, though, will smite away, or try to smite away at that red buff. Fails. No one falls quite yet. Baron now spawned, and really a matter of whether they can maintain control here as Rika feels empowered to go forward. Ace in the hole afterwards, and Diplex did not enjoy that.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons, this is one of the games and one of the matches where I don't mind Crown on for the Azir, because typically when you're against the Ahri, you're taking a single bursty trade and then you're trying to like play around for the next one. That Crown can allow you to play really ballsy and to say, all right, we'll take you on. Having a Caitlyn ult thrown into the mix too is it allows the Azir to really threaten just by zoning forwards and actually be less of just a grouped up hitting multiple targets, but having single target damage threat too.
Also, I love that, because also who's gonna break your crown? Last time we saw Skeens trying to break
the crown.
He literally died to break the crown, and then the team lost an entire team fight due to that for having numbers disadvantage right here. Skeens maybe can try with the flag, but it's so difficult. You've got 2 melees, Ahri that has to go a little bit too close. If you go too close, you can get Shurima shuffled all the way back.
Oh, these magical journeys have just been poppy bait the entire time. Sheo, though, is in a spot of bother. Temper Fate does get onto the AD carry, though. Crownie in danger. Flashes, but he's now in the Cataclysm. But what about the turnaround? Hostile takeover will split up the fight. Skeens flags and drags his way away, and now flashes out. Both junglers lose their flash. Crownie down all his summoners, though.
Crucial Poppy ult gets away from most of your damage. That was going to try and shut down that Caitlyn. Now you're out without a lot of your important ultimates now from Vitality.Bee. You only have the World Ender from Tagenda, but no setup to allow you into the fight. BDS Academy, they don't die. They managed to win in the battle of ultimate economy. Vitality.Bee struggling to find options once again.
And again, mid lane push, bot lane shove, forces Vitality.Bee to split even momentarily to try and defend one of their towers or one of the waves, which means on the other side of the map, since you do have the Caitlyn, you can very easily siege or even engage right there. And Rika has been playing this as very aggressive.
Takes a lot of damage. The massive pullback shutdown come through. And remember, they might not have the ultimates, but they're missing the summoners. The full V5 commences. Shigenda flashes forwards. The Aatrox wasn't the bonus is supposed to be the primary point of this game. They don't quite land enough. The charm did land. The ace in the hole comes through afterwards. Jack Troll takes Chuck, but now in the full V5.
Up in 5. They're looking for the fight. Let's see what happens to the Cataclysm.
Skeens is looking for it. Watch for the Cataclysm. It might be well ending. There's a Ragnarok on the other side, though. Massive stun to the wall. Shigenda goes gone, but he's got no HP. Diplex hopping forward, doing his best to make sure it happens. 1 for 1 right now. Temper Fate goes wide at him, doing what he can, but it's already 3 for 1, and they're gonna get another massive fight for Vitality.Bee.
Jessler still goes down towards the end of that fight, though. Adam just all ins, has the Blade the Ruin King, eventually ends up killing it first. I'm not sure expected the burst out of it, but signs of life from Vitality.Bee, and it comes in the way that we kind of expect from them at some point. They just end up outplaying and skill checking.
And I feel like a BDSA overstayed their welcome as well. Your objective was shoving both of these waves, take that bot lane tower, bleed your vision in, move towards Baron, reset, get that gold inside your pockets in terms of items, but they overextend. And even though we've been praising Rika for the entire series, if you will, so far, he overextends, he gets punished, and then his team collapses, because once that Shurima shuffle is not there to push people out once they've reached your backline, it's kind of grim, like it is for Jack Troll as well.
Shuffled away, trying to get the kill. That steadfast presence means there's no way out. Pick before what could be a crucial fate. Infernal Soul point on the table.
Now I'm gonna... invoked the name of someone who used to play for Vitality, which was very famous for this too. Is this Jack Troll? Oh, Hachani. Hachani was an old Korean support who at least once a game would die for trying to put a ward down. Happens here again. We were worried about it in game 1 from Jack Troll on the Karma. Really struggled to get that vision down. Gonna go back to his earlier replay though, and of course that crown gets popped very early.
Yeah, and Rika overstays his welcome, does not flash out of the chain, which means he ends up going down instantly. And what Vitality.Bee are doing here is very clever. Not only are they chasing, but they're also pinching BDSA into one place. And if you look at Crown Shot, Skins gets a fantastic flag, and Dragosio had already used his W, so now he does have that access into the backline. He can chomp into the backline of BDSA, and your damage dealers will do the rest. Of course, Adam is doing Adam things on his Olaf, grabs one with him, but the sentiment of this entire fight is that you gave away a bunch of these shutdowns, a lot of kills, and therefore items over to Vitality.Bee.
Yeah, it's a little scary for BDS Academy. Of course, it's kind of the nature of your team composition. If you're on the back foot and you lose one of your carries, you can go from bad to worse pretty quickly. You don't win out in the mobility department, especially when you're trying to rally around your Caitlyn on the defense. However, got to try and do that again. To do that again for Vitality.Bee, you got to start winning the fight. That's where the trouble's been.
Yes, and the thing is, you've narrowed the gold lead, but it's still 5,000 in the favor of BDSA, and they still scale very well as a team comp. They've also got themselves at some point to make matters worse, so Vitality.Bee are going to need a few more of the fights like that, and they're going to need a few more items than the like of Yaskla, who is at least caught up in completed items for now, but I doubt that Infinity Edge is too far away considering the gold discrepancy in the hands of Crownie.
I'm just going to say, we've seen 2 Caitlyn games. The first one did not go so well. The second one has gone better. In terms of team fighting, though, I fail to see how that Caitlyn has helped, but look at Sigenda on the flank. If he walks too far forward, he will be seen by the ward. They're already pinging him behind them, because they have seen him. He's on the flank, but what can he do?
Well, the bar ult missed already. I think if that landed, that would have been the go button. You find a multi-angle fight. You flank onto the carries, which lack the escape after that point. But Sigenda,
Adam knows he was lurking behind.
Yeah, he's just been tracking him at this point, and Vitality.Bee gonna just fall prey to the siege again.
Got to try and stop. This has been so difficult to break. Yes, you've killed Crownie a number of times, but it has not stopped the snowball. It has not stopped the siege, really, over the course of this game. It's only been brief delays, if that. And this inhibitor turret now down to under half HP. Adam will get hit with the Infernal Chains. Use the ultimate. Does get the charm on the show, but he's just so tanky. Nothing really found of it. Now that ultimate is down, can Vitality.Bee find the engage?
And as you can see, Shio and Adam are playing in front of all the carries. They don't care if they get charmed, because it's not going to be max damage coming through onto these 2 targets. All they care about is eating these skill shots just so Crownie can hit that tower and take it down. It's not going to be on this turn, unfortunately, for BDSA, but what they can do again is reset, take all that money, put them into items, and slowly but surely start bleeding the vision towards that bot quadrant of Skins jungle. Try and force Vitality.Bee into what you did in game number 1, trying to fight you head-on 5v5 where you're stronger.
Well, speaking of item completions, Crownie just got himself an Infinity Edge. It's a death cap on Rika. They've got Soul available to them in 2 minutes as well. And Vitality.Bee, I think that might be the doomsday clock. They need to fight for that, or it's lights out.
So, looking towards the setup, there is barely a red ward on the map. You definitely don't have any beyond the enemy jungle. Got some defensive vision being put down now, but it really is looking dangerous for Vitality.Bee. And a lot of that comes from actually Jack Troll being punished when he's been going on these warding missions. They've been failing really to protect Jack Troll, or Jack Troll is failing to play with enough caution, one of the two, to get down this vision, and it's meant that BDS Academy can start playing like this. They can group up. They're not at risk of being flanked after this point, but they are pushing in quite heavily now and quite fast. Pushing in through that mid-wave, going back towards that Baron.
Yeah, and there was actually a ward right here, but they just found it out. Diplex just found it out, where that Olaf can TP and create a massive nuisance and flank from the back, especially if that Baron gets started.
Good stun onto Skins, but not a lot to follow up with. The Tempered Fate will slow down a potential engage show very deep, but look on the other side! Massive attempt from Skins, but he still falls down because of a wonderful Emperor's Divide. Rika interrupts that dash, gets the kill onto the jungler.
There's just no follow-up. The range isn't there. Even your Aphelios has the shortest range weapons you can have. You got the Severum, you got the Crescendum, no rifle in there to extend the range. And it's It's trying to thread the needle. I get it. You're trying to look for those targets, trying to find the grouped up plays, but it's just not working when your teammates aren't in position to follow up.
And I think what Vitality.Bee need to do here is shove down that wave, try to take that mid lane tower, and then put some vision down towards that bot quadrant, as you can see, because not only that, but Soul is going to be spawning really quickly for the side of BDSA, and they're definitely going to want to fight from the side of Vitality.Bee to stop that Infernal Soul from going down towards them. It's now a 7,000 gold lead for BDSA, so you need to make something work. Pick someone apart. Dot and Shio are not together with their team, so this could be your chance.
They're going to try. But BDSA are coming very swiftly into the river on the picture-in-picture. Adam begins the siege in the top lane. They are trying to make this a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. Catch number
Schemes.
22. Tempered Fate does land. What more can they do? Schemes looking for that flank, as Trouble suggests. Teleport in, though. Charm onto Shio, but again, not the target you're looking for. Jaskler doing his best on the other side. Shigenda has to run away the one in response. Oh my god, the damage coming out of this unstoppable. Ragnarocking Olaf secures one. Crownie gets another. It's 2 for none already. Jack Troll will do his best with a cosmic binding to delay the inevitable, but Soul is BDSA's. It's looking more and more likely that game 2 is theirs as well.
Absolutely, 10,000 gold lead with all these kills that went down. They'll take the Soul, they'll take the Baron, they're pushing the top wave, they're taking the towers, they're taking Vitality.Bee's lives, and if it was Vitality.Bee wanting to play BDSA in a best of 5, I think at this point they've actually reconsidered their wishes, because BDSA are literally running them down. They're front to back, the drafts that they have from the very beginning are just so difficult to play against from Vitality.Bee that if they don't step up skill-wise, individually, to take the skirmishes, and they only try to fight them front to back, BDSA are always going to have the upper hand.
And on a level above that too, just the ability to decide those skirmishes has been lacking from Vitality.Bee, and so much more superior from BDS Academy. BDS Academy are managing to group. Vitality.Bee aren't finding those fights earlier into the game around the mid-jungle proactive duos, which they've been picking towards. It's just not been working out for them. BDS Academy able to set up shop, get themselves ahead in a team composition that can group, can kill, can crush out the game.
And while the kill score might look even, the gold lead has been anything but. It has been a relentless grind towards the end of this game. Vitality.Bee at the ends of their rope. They're going to try their very best to hold on here. Jack Troll helping Jaskler throw down as much damage as they can. Diplex throws down the ultimate. Gets a charm. That's onto Crown Chop, but he flashes away. No kills coming through. The health bars are pretty low. Shigenda up full HP, but already Jack Troll falls down. Moonlight Vigil lands onto Rika, but he'll shuffle away to get the shield. Into the backline, they go the handshake by time. But Jaskler's dead. They get the kill. Teleporting back in. Sheo's so low, but they just can't kill anybody. Shigenda versus the world. But it's an ironic twist on his ultimate, because it ends right here. BDSA now up 2-0 in this LFL derby.
BDSA have not had to show any ace up the sleeves.
Just one in the
They're
hole.
getting